And by the way, if I was Blizzard, I would be furious at PlayStation.
Do you ever wonder, though? Do you ever wonder if there's anything like that they don't mean to leak? I feel like Blizzard at this point.
I do.
They just do things like
kind
this.
of a little conspiracy.
Yeah, I'm full conspiracy.
Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong, though. I hate to say it.
But then they'll just delete it right after.
You're wrong.
They know.
You're wrong. Because... What's up, guys? It's Chris, John, and Colin with D-Pad Dubs, here to bring you episode 2 of the Overwatch show. Today we're going to talk about Overwatch 2, what we expect, and some cool leaks. Colin, take us away.
Yeah, so it turns out in recent news, we've had some friends down in Brazil who accidentally released a little bit too much information.
Thanks, Brazil.
Thank you. So apparently they said there's going to be a 2020 release date on a tweet that has since been deleted. They have had some confirmed leaks in the past, so there's a little bit of truth to this, we're hoping. But with Blizzard, we know they don't like to rush things, so we can't confirm 100% that it will be 2020.
Yeah.
They also said in BlizzCon this year that they expect to see more of Overwatch 2 in BlizzCon 2020. So if it is going to be a 2020 release, it's probably going to be holidays after BlizzCon.
I would think so, right? It's the best time to release something is October. I work in product management. The best time to release anything is October, late September. So that's what I would expect Overwatch 2 to come out.
At the very least.
At the least.
If they make me wait any more than that.
I'm hoping
I will ride.
2020.
Yeah,
I will
ride.
I can't wait more than that.
Good on Brett Seal, though. And by the way, if I was Blizzard, I would be furious at PlayStation.
Do you ever wonder, though? Do you ever wonder if there's anything like that they don't mean to leak? I feel like Blizzard at this point. They just do things like
kind
this.
of a little conspiracy.
Yeah, I'm full conspiracy.
Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong, though. I hate to say it.
But then they'll just delete it right after.
You're wrong.
They know.
You're wrong. Because, dude, I work in this stuff, man. And we leak things every once in a while, and you get hammered by the vendor when it happens. So I can't imagine Blizzard's happy about this. In fact, I think they're livid.
It's kind of what they do, though. I feel like really conservative with their release dates. Like they don't ever claim a date that they won't really realistically be able to make. So they just said it's going to come out. You'll probably see it at next BlizzCon, but it's probably a lot further along than we think.
Well, and that's actually a typical Blizzard system anyways. Every time they showcase any new game or whatever, they always have way more progress than they actually show in their demos, because if they show too much, then they're tied to those systems and there's more pressure about actually having those things carried to the end of the game.
I saw a product yesterday that is going to ship in 4 months from China. It's going to take 3 months to get overseas. It's done. It's ready to sell. And if I wanted to carry it in a retail store, it won't be in the retail store for 8 months. So I'm confident that they're really far along in the process. And what we're hearing is just what they want us to hear. It's the right thing for them to say at this point in product development or in game development. And to be fair, I'm in product development and sales, not in, actually also managed software. So I understand how this all works. And I do understand that there will be updates to the game all the way up until probably the week before it launches. But they are confident, especially it's Blizzard, they're perfectionists, right? Mm-hmm. So we know that there is a really strong core and anchor to work off of. And the fact that they're sharing that with a third party like PlayStation means that PlayStation is making plans to sell it, and PlayStation would be livid with Blizzard if Blizzard gave them the wrong date. Even though they're in software development, they understand that these things move. There is some confidence to it. So at this point, I would say 70% certainty that it's going to drop in 2020 after what we saw today.
Pretty certain.
Ooh. Yeah.
Okay, so regarding what we've seen in the small demo and what they gave us at BlizzCon, which wasn't a lot. I mean, we saw a couple missions, we saw a little bit of the Overwatch 2 PvP with a new push mode. Mm-hmm. But obviously, we're hoping for a deeper sense of progression and replayability. We want to make sure this is a game we can play just as much as Overwatch PvP. So, what would we like to see, or what would we hope to see from Blizzard to do with Overwatch 2 that's going to make it a game we want to play night after night?
That's my concern. I'm just going to come out and say it. Yeah, I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm concerned about Overwatch 2. And don't get me wrong, I have full faith in Blizzard.
Okay.
And they've never put out a game that I've been super disappointed with. Now, to be fair, I never played WoW, but I know that people who play WoW love it. There's games by Blizzard I haven't played, but I will say that every single release I've seen from Blizzard is a top-notch, brilliant game that's perfectly done. So I even scare myself saying that I'm concerned about Overwatch 2. But look at what we've seen of it. And maybe we haven't seen the whole picture, but you're going to have, 4 to 6 abilities with each hero to replay the same PvE map over and over and over and over again? Like, at what point Diablo, which has all these builds and different, things you can get, legendaries, primals, primal ancients, I get bored of that game replaying it after, 5-6 hours because it's pretty monotonous. So if I have 6 maps to run, and it's cool that it is, an FPS, but think about how complex Destiny was. And even that, got boring, but that was a beautiful, brilliantly designed raid campaign that I don't see how Overwatch is living up to that. And I don't want to put them on the same playing field. It's obviously a different game. But to me, I can't comprehend how the PvE of Overwatch is going to maintain our attention for as long as PvP has, or even come close. Like, the way I view it now, it looks like a month of consistent fun and then bye.
So I think that there's a couple things that they're going to do that are going to make it that kind of replayable. And we can't think of it in terms of like Diablo, where you grind the same Greater Rift over and over and you're just trying to get that next piece of gear, because it's not going to be a gear focused kind of game. Overwatch is at its core a team game, and I think that they're going to push into that on the PvE side of things. So like even in the cinematic trailer, they showed that thing where Reinhardt and Brigitte link up their shields, or they have the Mei and the Tracer Pulse Bomb come together and they have like the Ice Bomb. So I think that what they need to do, and what I'm really hoping they do, is that they make it really dependent on team play, and it's difficult, so that you're putting the same amount of communication and effort into trying to complete these PvE missions as you would into winning a match of competitive. So I'm really hoping they make it difficult and they make it extremely team-based, where you have to work together to make these things work. So it feels like when you finish it, you're not just grinding the same thing over and over, but when you complete something, you feel like you're rewarded just for getting through it. So I'm really hoping they make it difficult. That's what I'm hoping to see.
They have the systems to do it. As someone that played vanilla WoW all the way through Myths of Pandaria, the systems that they have in place with the boss fights are there, right? So like, it's not some company that's never done this before. It's not like a company that's never made PvE.
It's Blizzard.
They've got experience
if
with
there's
PvE.
someone that's mastered the raid and the dungeon and the different levels of bosses, it's them. And loot systems, they do loot systems well. It has the promise, but I'm with Chris of that kind of like skeptical, just because of what we've seen. There wasn't a whole lot to see at the Blizzard launch, which I'm sure they did on purpose, right? They want to show us very little, because whatever they do show us, especially last year with how many terrible releases were there, how their PR department is like, listen, we're gonna show them things, but it will only be things that are guaranteed to be in the game, because
I guess, but
what we can't have is an Anthem or a Fallout 76 or
2019 was a bad year.
It was a bad year. Well, but we have no evidence. We have no evidence moving forward that it's going to get better. Like, when's the last time a game dropped that was like, holy cow, this is an amazing game?
My hunch is it's been a long time. It's been
Overwatch. When Overwatch came out.
Sincerely, I mean, we've talked about it amongst ourselves. Like, what are the top games of 2019? Really hard to compile the top 5 for 2019.
They're all on the Game Pass and they're free.
Right. So with Overwatch 2, I think the exciting thing is that it's Blizzard. You know that you're going to get it will be very fluid, but I have a hunch that the game mode is designed for lore. It's designed to tell more of a story, and it's for like the fans of the characters of Overwatch. This isn't going to be like you're going to have like guilds going for world first.
But I'm not a fan. I don't care about story.
But look at how what other games have done what Overwatch is doing, where it's like you have a full PvP, then we're releasing a second title that is like
that's the thing.
Title.
If it's not Overwatch 2 on its own game on its own that's as good as Overwatch was when it came out and has been for so long, then don't call it Overwatch 2. Call it Overwatch the PvE expansion. Call it whatever you want to call it.
I mean, how many meetings did they have thinking about calling it Overwatch 2 versus Overwatch :
all of the meetings.
But then if I'm the executive sitting in the chair and I'm arguing about what to call it, if you're going to call it Overwatch 2, you better give me a dang good independent title game.
So it's fair for us to have really high expectations about this because they're going to charge us for it.
Be, right.
You know, this is a whole thing that they've been starving Overwatch of content.
It's fair for the community to have expectations about
exactly.
it. If I'm going to drop $60,
they're aware of that, and so they know that they have to put forth something that's going to be pretty dang good. And,
I think it's a part of a natural progression of Overwatch. I think that they really do have a 10-year, 15, 20-year plan with it, like they do for most of their games. World of Warcraft wasn't always WoW. It started as Warcraft, right? So like it evolved over time into something. So I think this is a step in a natural progression for the game.
Makes sense.
There hasn't been another game that's been an FPS, RPG, open world.
Yeah.
Destiny has attempted to do it, but the cross-platform and like what the Xbox is capable
Destiny
of
was
doing.
fun. If Overwatch 2 turns into, and I know it's not going to be as loot-based, but the experience of playing Destiny was fun. For as many bad reviews as it got, 6 months in after release, it was a blast. Yeah. And so if Overwatch 2 becomes Blizzard's attempt at something like Destiny, it's going to be incredible. I am just apprehensive about how it's going to get there.
I think it'll be a slow start. I think Overwatch 2 will not be I have very low expectations for Overwatch 2.
And it's always safe to have low expectations. Let's talk about some of the more fun things, like what we actually want to see in the game, what would make it super cool, and just the perfect release.
I got it. Raid bosses. I'm so excited to have bosses at the end of the PvE fights. I want one that's literally like 67 times the size of my character model. I want to be Reinhardt with my little tiny shield looking up, terrified for my life, while I have you as Ashe and you as like a Torb behind me, just doing everything we can to this boss. It seems like completely...
Well, that's just like what they gave us in the cinematic. You see Winston, and he looks tiny up against that massive robot they have.
The cinematic that brought tears to every single one of our faces.
That's the best cinematic ever, dude.
It was so good.
Also, Blizzard needs to make movies. Please make movies, Jeff.
Just make movies. Just do it.
We love it. But that's what I want to see. I want to see, I remember, going back to Destiny, like when we would go through the raids and you would have a mini boss and a mini boss and a mini boss and the main boss. And even the mini boss fights were hard and took a lot of coordination and Googling things to figure out how people did it. Cheese strategies. Like if Overwatch 2 gives me that, they're going to give me what I want. And if they can figure out how to bypass which I think they will, it's Blizzard. If they can bypass the gear progression idea and give us something that's a little bit different and it becomes more experiential, like the Battle Royale system that they're trying to implement, then I'm excited for it. I think the boss element is going to be so much fun if they do it right.
Which so you want it to feel like a raid.
That's what I'm excited for. Yeah.
Listen, all I want is a jetpack monkey. I just want, or a jetpack cat. Give me something with a jetpack. So
you're excited for the new characters, though. The new characters are going to be dope.
I mean, how many are they going to be releasing?
He said at least 4 at launch.
I think a minimum 4. Sure. Yeah. I'm really excited for the new characters. And I just hope that the bosses are fun. That's all that I care about. I love coordination. I love not knowing exactly how a fight works, right? Like you go in the room and you're like, okay, there are these orbs I have to take. And I think in Destiny, the orbs, you have to go in the door. And like,
it's hard to figure out what you have to do.
I like the puzzles. Yeah. So I hope that there's a lot of puzzles. Mm-hmm. And good story. I'm looking for good
we know there's going to be that. There's going to be a lot of that.
There's nothing better on planet Earth than when you see the Blizzard roll right before a cutscene because you just know
it's going to be so
you're just going to get quality.
That's one thing we're allowed to have high expectations about. The one thing I would love, or I'm excited about especially, is actually what it's going to do to Overwatch PvP. Yeah. Because with all those new heroes being released and, there's going to be so many new maps.
The new game type.
The meta, everything's going to change so much about the PvP. I'm just excited to see, like, after years and years of developing the Overwatch player base and how we know to play the game, seeing a lot of that being kind of flipped on its head, and it's like we're all kind of learning it together again for the first time. That was such a fun experience with Overwatch when it first came out. Yeah. I'm just really excited for Overwatch 2 PvP.
That is really true, especially because one character can alter the meta so much, right? But then they just introduce
4 or 5 new characters.
Yeah, the game, just the face of the game and a new game type. The new game type is really exciting. That should be a lot of fun.
Cool. That's it for this week of the Overwatch Show, episode 2. Thanks so much for hanging out. Please like and subscribe. We are a really small channel, and we're trying to grow. Come back next week for more good stuff. Thanks. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Bye.